my beloved child. The night felt heavier than usual, and a cold air pressed against the edges of your awareness as if something unseen had stepped forward from a distant corner. Lights around you dimmed not because they were fading, but because your intuition sharpened enough to notice movements that others ignored. A presence lingered near your path, silent yet loaded with intent. You walked forward with a strength that had grown through every hardship, yet tonight felt different because destiny seemed to shift its shape. The veil between truth and deception thinned enough for you to sense the storm someone tried to send your way. In that moment the world seemed to pause, waiting for your next breath. Archangel Michael says your spirit is watched over even when human actions are driven by jealousy, envy, or manipulation. He speaks not through fear but through clarity, revealing what moves in the unseen so you do not carry misunderstanding on your shoulders. Before each step you take he clears the ground beneath you, preparing your path with silent authority. A woman in your life underestimated your resilience and believed a stranger could dim the rising light inside you. She acted out of her own insecurities and not out of any power you could ever fear, but her choice carved an echo that reached spiritual ears. That echo became the signal that awakened divine protection around you like a shield of unbreakable metal. Type Amen to get blessing 333. As the unseen contract formed in the shadows, the energy around you stiffened as if the world inhaled sharply. This person she sent thought you were an easy target, unaware of the fire that had been building within you through trials and transformation. The moment their intention touched your path, the spiritual world shifted its weight to stand around you. You did not break when life tried to crush you, and that alone disrupted the plan forming behind your back. Your heartbeat aligned with a force that knows no defeat because it comes from inner awakening rather than outer defense. Every step you take becomes a testimony to the strength you never knew existed within you until life forced it to surface. Archangel Michael says his sword interrupts any plan crafted against your progress, your voice, your purpose, or your destiny. His presence enters silently but with power strong enough to dissolve energies sent with harmful intention. His wings tilt the balance of the unseen so your stability remains untouched. The person who was hired felt a sudden heaviness the moment they attempted to approach your path, a weight they could not explain. Something invisible blocked their movement, clouded their thoughts, and pushed them sideways until they could no longer continue. Your energy burst outward with a brilliance that disrupted every distorted intention they carried. Type Amen to get blessing 442. The woman's envy originated from the moment she realized you were becoming someone she could never control again. She saw your independence rising and mistook it for rebellion rather than healing. Her decision to involve someone else became the moment her intentions exposed themselves to forces greater than her own imagination. She believed harm would weaken you, but everything she set into motion returned to her awareness like a reflection in a cracked mirror. Instead of stopping you, her actions strengthened a field of protection around you so intense that nothing could pierce it. The spiritual world always reacts when innocence is targeted by insecurity. Your path brightened because you embraced growth even when life felt like a battlefield. You transformed your pain into maturity and your struggle into height, and that transformation irritated those who remained trapped in their own limitations. Instead of breaking you, adversity shaped you into something more solid than steel. Archangel Michael says your name resounds in places where divine forces gather, not because of fear but because of your purpose. He steps forward every time someone underestimates the weight of your calling or the strength of your spirit. He shields you from impacts you never even see. Type Amen to get blessing 515. The man who was sent to disrupt your life found himself losing direction at every attempt because your energy pushed him back. His mind felt cloudy, his emotions unstable, and everything around him seemed to collapse when he moved near your path. Fate itself refused to cooperate with the plan made against you. He began questioning his own decisions as losses grew around him and his spirit felt strained. The reason was simple: he stepped into a field he was not meant to enter. Your energy was not aligned with vulnerability, it was aligned with elevation. Your rise created ripples that unsettled those who used to see you as small, and your transformation reminded them that their control was an illusion. They wanted the older version of you, the one who bent under pressure. Instead, they found a force that could not be dragged back into old wounds. Their attempt to harm you triggered a protective energy that surrounded you like a fortress that no human could breach. Every harmful intention began collapsing like dust under your spiritual weight. Their plan fell apart because your path was never theirs to influence. Type Amen to get blessing 628. Your journey has always been marked by resilience and quiet strength, qualities many did not understand. They saw your silence as weakness, unaware that silence is the birthplace of transformation. The new version of you stood up with a fire that refused to bow. You rose without permission, overcame without applause, and healed without witnesses. This silent growth intimidated those who preferred you wounded. Your recovery threatened their comfort. The woman who orchestrated the plan felt your progress like a personal attack, even though it had nothing to do with her. Her insecurity whispered that your success meant her irrelevance, and she followed that whisper blindly. She aimed to block your rise, not realizing she was aiming at a star too bright to dim. The spiritual realm observed her actions and responded with justice, not anger. Everything she attempted dissolved before reaching you, leaving her confused as to why nothing worked. Meanwhile, your light grew even stronger. Type Amen to get blessing 774. The person hired to disturb your path eventually felt the pressure of consequences forming around him. His steps faltered because he sensed a barrier he could not cross. The closer he tried to approach your energy, the more unstable his life became. He did not understand the reason your presence felt unreachable. He believed he was stepping into something simple, unaware he was stepping into divine territory. Protection surrounded you like an invisible army. Your spirit carried an authority that his intentions could not penetrate. Nothing he attempted found direction, and every path toward you became blocked. His own energy began returning to its rightful place away from your life. The shadows turned back on him because they were never meant for you. The world around you moved in your favor even when you did not see it with your physical eyes. Your destiny remained firm in the hands of what protects you. Type Amen to get blessing 886. The woman who initiated this plan slowly realized she misjudged your strength. She expected you to fall, but you continued rising like someone carried by unseen hands. Her plan collapsed because nothing built without truth can survive long. Your progress made her bitterness grow, but bitterness carries no power over someone aligned with healing. You were never meant to stay in the darkness she hoped you would remain in. You broke free long before she noticed. Your transformation shook the energy around her, forcing her to confront her own insecurities. She saw your independence and confused it with threat. But your journey had nothing to do with her. The spiritual world redirected everything away from you because your path was prepared for greatness. Protection became thicker than ever, wrapping around you like armor. You walked forward untouched. Type Amen to get blessing 921. Your energy continued expanding with clarity and confidence. Every step forward disrupted the shadows that once surrounded your life. You carried strength in silence and power in resilience. The person hired to interfere understood he could not continue. He felt drained, confused, and overwhelmed by an invisible force that pushed him back. Your spiritual field refused his presence. He stepped away because destiny did not allow him to stand near your path. His role dissolved before it even began. Your protection dismantled every intention that carried harm. The woman who tried to orchestrate your downfall found herself facing her mistakes. She learned that aligning with negativity only invites destruction into her own life. You remained untouched while her energy spiraled. Type Amen to get blessing 1007. Your story continued rising with strength drawn from endurance. Every hardship built a layer of wisdom that carried you higher. Nothing they attempted could break your foundation. You moved forward while their plans fell apart behind you. You became the one element in their story they could not control. Your destiny grew beyond their reach. And through all of it, your spirit shined brighter with every passing moment. You became an example of perseverance that even the spiritual world acknowledged. Your name carried weight in the unseen. Archangel Michael says your journey is guided, your spirit is guarded, and your purpose is unstoppable. His sword clears the path in front of you as your steps continue toward a future built on strength. No shadow born from envy can dim your rise. Type Amen to get blessing 1133. The night shifted again as if the air sensed the weight of your steps moving into a new chapter. A quiet intensity wrapped around your aura, reminding you that your journey had only begun to reveal its depth. Something powerful stirred beneath the surface of your path, preparing to lift you further than before. The energy trailing behind your rise created waves that reached those who once doubted your strength. Every step you took now echoed with clarity that resonated far beyond your physical world. Your presence carried a higher vibration that no shadow could imitate. The man who once attempted to cross into your life now found his own path collapsing under the weight of consequences. The deeper he moved into harmful intentions, the more unstable his world became until he realized he had stepped into something he was never meant to touch. He walked away with nothing but fear pressing against his conscience. The woman who orchestrated the plan felt the ripple as her intentions began unraveling. She sensed the momentum you carried, a force growing stronger with each passing moment. Her influence weakened as your spirit became unshakable. Type Amen to get blessing 1222. Even the environment around you began responding to the shift in your energy. People who once overlooked your presence now felt a pull toward the strength you naturally radiated. You were no longer walking through life unnoticed, you were stepping into your role with undeniable presence. Your resilience built an atmosphere that even negativity struggled to penetrate. You were no longer the person who could be manipulated or suppressed because every hardship had shaped you into a force that refused to bend. The world around you now adjusted to your growth rather than the other way around. The woman watching from afar realized she was no longer dealing with the version of you she believed she could influence. You stood taller, stronger, and sharper, your awareness too heightened to fall for the traps she once relied on. Her plans lost momentum because your evolution was far beyond anything she anticipated. Her fear turned inward as she recognized the magnitude of the transformation you underwent. The power she attempted to undermine had become the power that now overshadowed her intentions. You walked with a grace that rose above everything thrown at you. Type Amen to get blessing 1379. The spiritual realm continued clearing paths ahead of you as if preparing you for something larger. Opportunities began lining themselves in your direction, each one shaped by the strength you had earned through endurance. Your path became guided by the clarity that resonated from your inner growth. The world began responding to your intentions with more speed, more alignment, and more purpose. Doors that once remained closed started opening effortlessly because your energy now matched what you deserved. You became a magnet for progress instead of obstacles. The woman who acted from envy now faced her own unraveling. Everything she once sent toward you returned to her life with amplified intensity, making her realize that jealousy carries a cost she was never prepared to pay. She watched your rise from a distance, unable to understand how you kept surviving every storm. Her influence faded as your authenticity strengthened. Every truth you carried became a shield, every lesson became armor, and every step forward became proof that destiny favors the resilient. You became untouchable in ways she could not comprehend. Type Amen to get blessing 1444. Your journey moved with a rhythm that felt both powerful and unstoppable. Every breath you took aligned with the force that protected your spirit from unseen harm. You carried a glow that felt ancient, wise, and deeply rooted in your purpose. The man who was once sent to interfere now lived with the guilt of stepping into a mission that was never his. His conscience felt heavy with the responsibility of trying to damage someone protected by forces he did not understand. His attempts dissolved until all that remained was regret. The shadows that once tried to wrap around your path now retreated. They could not withstand the light your energy carried, a light born from your persistence and inner strength. Each step forward made them weaker, thinner, and easier to dissolve. Your path illuminated even brighter as the world finally recognized your resilience. You had become the embodiment of a story that nothing could bend or break. Your spirit held the quiet power of someone who rose beyond every attempt to silence them. Type Amen to get blessing 1588. Your transformation continued shaping itself with strength carved from your past experiences. Everything you once overcame now worked in your favor, building a foundation of unstoppable momentum. You became a living reminder of what growth looks like when nothing can interfere. People began seeing you through a new lens, recognizing the evolution they once ignored. They noticed the power in your silence, the certainty in your steps, and the confidence in your presence. Your aura felt like a storm wrapped in calm. The woman who triggered everything now faced the reflection of her intentions. Each move she made had consequences unfolding in front of her, forcing her to confront the truth she had tried to avoid. She could not escape the reality she created for herself. Meanwhile, your energy rose beyond her reach. You stepped into your destiny with a confidence unshaken by the shadows behind you. Nothing around you could disrupt the momentum of your rise. Type Amen to get blessing 1661. Your story now entered the phase where your purpose began to materialize in ways even you did not expect. The world opened for you with a sense of timing that felt perfect. Everything that once resisted your growth now paved the way for your success. Your spirit expanded beyond limitations that used to trap you. You no longer reacted to negativity because your path was elevated above it. Your power increased with each moment you embraced your truth. Those who once underestimated you began witnessing the transformation they never thought possible. Their disbelief turned into quiet acknowledgement as your strength became undeniable. You rose with a dignity that demanded respect. Archangel Michael says the momentum around you is not accidental, it is earned through every hardship you survived. His presence stands beside your steps, reinforcing the path that was chosen for your highest rise. Every shadow that once tried to block you now falls